Well, the European Commission has proposed suspending the bulk of a free trade agreement with Israel in response to its assault on Gaza City. That deal covers about a third of all Israeli goods exported to the European Union.
The aim is not to punish Israel. The aim is to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. All member states agree that the situation in Gaza is untenable. The war needs to end. The suffering must stop and all hostages must be released. We must use all the tools we have towards this outcome.
Ahelbarra has more details from Brussels.
The EU has been trying for months to come up with a sanctions package against Israel, but there's been a huge divide between countries such as Germany, Italy and Hungary, who were saying that we should not be perceived to be punishing Israel, and other countries who were saying that it's about time for the EU to stand up to its ideals and impose sanctions, particularly the suspension of the entire trade association agreement with Israel. Now, to narrow differences between the two camps within the EU, they've decided to target some aspects of that association agreement. So the EU now is proposing to impose tariffs on Israeli goods estimated at more than $6 billion. These are Israeli imports into Europe, plus imposing sanctions on Israeli ministers Bezalel, Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, and suspending a package of aid to Israel estimated at 20 million euros. You don't need to have consensus when it comes to imposing sanctions, but rather a majority. But these measures remain largely symbolic and don't meet the demands of the human rights activists and the hundreds of thousands of people who took to the streets across Europe, saying that the EU has to show a tougher stance when it comes to sending a strong signal that it rejects the genocide and the relentless bombardment which is taking place across in Gaza. But as you know, this is the EU, a bloc that remains to be pretty much very divided about how to move forward when it comes to sanctioning Israel. Ahelbarra, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.